Good afternoon. I'm Tommy Whitlow. I am a member of the Sacramento Valley section of the National Council of Negro Women, and I have been the chair of the Christian Women of the Year. I met Merle M. Wright at the very first Christian Woman of the Year. And more importantly, I learned from there that Merle M. Wright was born March the 31st. We both share the same birthday. She is March 31st, 1928, and she transitioned this life May 9th, 2021. I met Merle at Rancho Arroyo Sports Complex, March the 25th, 1995. As I stated before, she was one of the first Christian Women of the Year. And the committee for that year, 1995, was the late Naomi Hill and Lula Jones were the chairs and co-chairs. The late Tenny Boykin, the late Marion H. Lewis, life member Delilah Lulu, Cora Murray, legacy life member Tommy Whitlow, founder charter member, and legacy life member Betty O. Williams. The program went something like this. The Missionettes of Calvary Christian Center said the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States, as well as the Christian Pledge. There were door prizes. The late Marion H. Lewis and Delilah Lulu, life member Delilah Lulu. Poetry reading by Patricia Canterbury. The late Grace Morgan Jones was the keynote speaker, making a difference. Presentation to the honorees, Lula Jones and Naomi Hill. We ended with the benediction, but before the benediction, charter founder Betty O. Williams spoke on strong commitment. From that time on, March the 25th, 1995, Merle M. Wright has been a strong, dedicated member of the Sacramento Valley section. She has been there through thick and thin. She has never given up hope. She believes in what we did. And her famous mantra was, I want my flowers while I live. I am so pleased that I attended her birthday celebration. Was drive-by at Del Paso Union Baptist Church, March the 31st, 2021. You never know when it's going to be the last time that you will see someone. I am so thankful to God that I didn't miss that opportunity. I did not miss that opportunity. Her oldest son was there and took pictures. I cannot tell you how I am so glad that I didn't miss that. A lot of times we miss things. We just miss them. But I didn't miss that. Not knowing, seeing her, not knowing that would be the last time I would ever look down in her face and see that smile. And she was sitting in a chair, all prompt, looking like a queen with her tiara on. And she looked up and I looked down. Not in a snobbish way, but in a smiling way, because she's smaller than me and I'm standing up. It was something. And those of you who know Merle, you know that Merle, number one, was a woman of God. And when I thought about what to say about her, I knew that she wanted me to say that she was a woman of God. And not only was she a woman of God, and I guess it means the same thing, but I want to say she loved God. She loved her family. One of the things that I noticed that she loved, not only her immediate family, her siblings, her children, but she loved her in-laws. Even after her husband had transitioned this world, she still looked after her in-laws. I was one of the very fortunate people to be invited to all of Merle's birthday celebrations since I met her in 1995. I said, well, who's this lady? She said, this is my in-law. And I'm going like, oh my God. And every year until she transitioned this world, she was there. Merle took care of Merle saw that she was an integral part of the family. Merle loved her church, Del Paso Union Baptist Church. She loved the community and she gave back to the community. Those of you who read the Sacramento Bee saw her photo, singing, bringing life to people who were at the Methodist hospital or their home for seniors, their care home. She did that for a number of years. She just went and played. Can you imagine a caring person just playing for people who, when the late Tenny Boykin was not well, I went to the place where she was, and I learned that when you get old, unless you have a loving and close-knit family, people do not necessarily come to see you. I would go and there would be people that, and Tenny told me this, no one ever came to see them, or at least she never saw anyone coming to see them. And the people that she pointed out, every time I went, they would be in the lobby, but there would be no one to see them. And yet I met one person, had his son there every time I was there. And I went to him one day and told him how pleased I thought it was that he would have his son come to see his grandmother. He said, oh yes, he has to come. He doesn't have a choice. He may miss a game or two, but that's okay. He can work around the games. But he is learning that when I am old, he knows what to do because he has seen me take him to see his grandmother. They didn't stay all day, but he just didn't have a choice. He had to do that. And those of you know that she gave unselfishly to the Del Paso Union Baptist Church. How many years did she play the piano for the gospel choir, the men's chorus, and whatever else they needed at the Del Paso Union Baptist Church? Likewise, Merle M. Wright played for the Christian Women of the Year luncheon for the National Council of Negro Women Incorporated. In addition to that, when we hosted the Northern California Bethune Recognition Program, now known as the Bethune Height Recognition Program, Merle Wright always played. And if she went to the Bay Area, she played. I remember her playing when Dr. Height was at the airport Hilton. She had her whole family there, not only her entire family, but her minister at the time, and the church attended to meet Dr. Dorothy Irene Height. Merle Wright was an entrepreneur as well. She worked for the county of Sacramento. At one time, she was the late Johnson's secretary. And she loved his grandmother who raised him. His grandmother was a Christian Woman of the Year, and I didn't know how to put the dots together initially, but I was surprised that he came to all of the Christian Women of the Year meetings, even after she was no longer the Christian Woman of the Year. He, however, did stop coming when she passed, but he was there to support his grandmother. That's the way her family was, and those were the friendships that she developed. And it appeared that many of the people at the Del Paso Union Baptist Church shared the same link in terms of their relationships and the way they viewed family. And they just appeared to all be one big family. Merle Wright was a chair of the Christian Women of the Year for many years. Merle M. Wright, was a friend of mine. Her children loved me and saw that I attended all of her events. I will indeed miss Merle Wright's smile. I will miss her generosity. But I am thankful to God that I was able to give her flowers while she lived. And I want to thank Mrs. Washington for her work and her support of Merle Wright in apprising me that the Del Paso Union Baptist Church earlier this year gave a tribute to the late Merle M. Wright, as she wanted to smell her flowers while she lived. In 2019, she had a program at Del Paso Union Baptist Church, and people came. It was basically the music world came. Many of the musicians in Sacramento, and some who've gone on to do other things, came through Merle Wright. You're talking about an unselfish person. Merle M. Wright was unselfish in that she had no problems teaching young musicians to play gospel and play for churches. They came and they said it themselves, that she taught me. I didn't know. I knew music, I could play, but they said, I am the musician that we are today because of Sister Merle M. Wright. And Merle M. Wright, I say to you, rest in peace. You have run your race. You've finished your course. And now you're waiting for your reward, which is laid up for you in heaven. Rest, my friend, rest.